Ron Barron just came out in a 22-minute interview talking about Tesla, Elon, and all the crazy things that's happening around this company, and obviously Elon Musk as well. So I don't want to waste too much of your time. And of course, we're not going to watch the full 22 minutes of the thing. Obviously, that's going to be outrageous. This video will be over 30 minutes long. So I'm just going to put the important things and the bombshells. And there were some spicy bombshells, including the Tesla stock and all that kind of stuff. So smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get down to it. So first things first, he talks about the vote. And obviously, he's voting for the compensation package. Obviously not against it, because Ron Barron, is a very heavy Tesla investor since 2015, 2016, with an average share price of 13. So just imagine that. $13 per share. You already more than 10x your money. Unlike other ungrateful investors, he is very grateful and he's voting for it because he knows the benefit that comes with Elon Musk. We will get to that later on into this video. Contract is a contract is what he says, and no one thought that he would do it. I mean, the contract is something that was pretty much impossible, and Elon did the impossible, and the fact that we have to go back and, re-ratify it is just absolutely silly. But here's what Ron Barron had to say about it. Check it out.
That's the will of the company. The will of the company and the will of the shareholders, so I think he should be, it's a legally binding contract. And then who sued? You had an individual who was a shareholder for hire with 9 shares, sued. And it took him 5 years to get the derivative suit certified, but class action wasn't, so he doesn't really represent all the shareholders. And the lawyer who represented them, when you talk about getting lucky, he has applied to the court for payment of $5.6 billion. $5.6 billion. And then he is asking for the payment to be made in shares of Tesla stock, which are depressed because of this lawsuit. It's crazy.
He's absolutely right. This is pretty much a will for the company and the shareholder. This is a contract that the shareholders agreed 73% in 2018. That was on a contingent basis, on conditions basis, that if you perform these metrics, these numbers, if the stock goes up this much, if you bring the market cap up to here, you get this much. And again, 73% of shareholders agreed, the board of directors agreed, everybody agreed. And now we're here. That it's ridiculous. So this needs to get passed, guys, if we want to have some sort of a relief when it comes to the FUD, when it comes to having, thinking that your investment is safe. Because a lot of people are saying that, hey, if this doesn't get passed, Elon may probably want to leave Tesla. And you guys already know my point on this, my point of view on this. He ain't gonna leave even if this thing gets declined, but we don't want him not having this. Yes, he already owns 13%. If you include the 2012 compensation package, he'll own 17%. And if you include this one, he'll own 20%. But the man deserves it, man. The man deserves it. If you want Tesla to continue going higher in the stock value, continue doing crazy things, you gotta have Elon Musk. It's as simple as that. Then Ron Barron made a very interesting point that the guy who sued Elon, that the judge is now with him, only had 9 shares, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Then he said something really interesting, is that this isn't a real class action lawsuit, meaning that this doesn't represent all the shareholders of Tesla, which makes you think, why did the judge in Delaware court really decline this? Now, if you guys want to ask me, we already know the reason why, because it was some misinformation, whatever it was, which was just BS, because you had the board of directors agreeing to it, and then you had the shareholders massively, overwhelmingly agreeing to it. The real reason is not a really good reason of why she declined it. Anyways, whatever the reason was, whatever that stupid reason is now, we are ratifying it now in the vote, that when it does get passed, which I do think is going to get passed, she can't really say no then. If she does, oh man, Delaware court, the whole businesses that are thinking to register their corporation in Delaware, it's going to go under question, because then it's not what the shareholder says, what the judge says, and that's going to be a lot at stake and not going to be good for anybody just going forward with any corporation. So I think it's going to get passed, and then once it gets passed and goes to the judge, she's going to approve it. She kind of has to approve it, otherwise it's not going to be good. But it's also interesting because, Baba Biden does not like Elon Musk, and she and I think her husband has something with Biden. And don't forget, Biden was senator for Delaware for 20 years, so there is some politics into this as well. And I do think this has to do with that as well. Ron Barron also mentions that the lawyers who helped this guy who had 9 shares to sue Elon, and well, it's now pending, not winning, but pending. But if they do win, they want $5.6 billion, not of cash, but of worth of Tesla stock, which is just flipping crazy. So let's vote for this compensation and let's move this thing away from Delaware and not pay these guys anything. We don't want these guys to be paid in $5-6 billion worth of Tesla stock. I mean, this is crazy. It's ridiculous what's going on, and it's just not fair. It's absolutely not fair. Now, there's a lot of speculation saying that if Elon leaves, Tesla will do much better. I'm not too sure about that, and here is Ron's take.
This is actually in your favor, and if he weren't to devote himself the way I believe he will devote himself to the company continuing, then you would be damaged as a new shareholder. You're buying into a company where you have one of the most exceptional, maybe the most exceptional, executive in this country, in the world, running your business. Do you really want to not treat him properly? Last year, there happened to be, so Tesla has 140,000 employees. To show you how desirable it is to work there, the most number 1 and number 2 jobs that are desired by graduates from the top engineering schools are Tesla and SpaceX. Last year, Tesla had 12,000 new hires. And 12,000 new hires, they had 6 million applicants. 6 million applicants for 12,000 jobs. And so think about that. The reason they have it is not because the name Tesla, not because of car, it's because of him. And so think about his ability to attract these great people to come to this business, to grow it and run it and make changes that are benefiting the entire planet. And you want to renege on a contract, on a deal you made with him?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Woof, I love it when someone just spits facts. Here's the thing, guys, and he is absolutely right. Tesla shareholders, it's in Tesla shareholders' benefit to vote in favor of this, and it's in Tesla shareholder benefit to keep Elon working at Tesla, being the CEO, or at least being a big part of Tesla as long as possible. Now, there's one thing I do disagree here with Ron Barron, is that he says that Tesla is Elon, Elon is Tesla. I don't fully agree with that. I do think he's the most important key man risk, but I do think the company is going to continue growing and being the company that we do think that it's going to be, even without Elon, just without the bots. Just without the bots. But the robotaxi, the cars, all that kind of stuff, I do see that continuing and growing. The full self-driving, all that kind of stuff. But just not the autonomous or the bots. But we know that Elon's not going to leave. He's going to stay. And he loves Tesla. He has a lot of stake in Tesla. And personally, I don't think he's going to leave. But we should, keep him happy. And if we keep him happy, he's going to keep us shareholders happy. By the way, guys, if you haven't voted and don't know how to vote, you guys should check this video here. And you guys should vote. But check this video here on how to vote. Then Rebecca asked Ron Barron this, and I think it's pretty important.
The issue that comes up is the potential conflict. To have somebody who's partially at Tesla, who's partially at SpaceX, who's partially at X, who's partially at XAI. How do you make sure that there's not a conflict of interest? There was a CNBC story yesterday that took a look at XAI. Elon sending NVIDIA information asking
chips.
That the chips that were granted, that were there in line, that for Tesla be given to XAI instead. And that raises the question of shareholders who are not invested in the entire Elon ecosystem. Do they run the risk of being shortchanged when Elon moves things from one project to the next? How do Tesla shareholders benefit from the Elon infrastructure?
Now, this part was important because there's a lot of Tesla investors out there that go like, oh, Elon's attention is not at Tesla. We want him to be 100% at Tesla. He's always at X. He's always at SpaceX. He's always at Neuralink. He's always at X. He's always at his next project, Boring Company, whatever. But what they fail to realize is that all those companies and businesses that Elon runs benefits Tesla. Here's what Ron had to say about that.
So we'll now go to the Elon ecosystem. All these companies benefit each other. Elon spends way more than half of his time on Tesla compared to all these other entities that he's doing. But these are all the entities, they're all benefiting Tesla. And as far as the chips that went from NVIDIA to XAI, it was because Tesla has invested tremendously in data centers for themselves. 50,000 is one that they're building right now, GPUs. 25,000 is the largest it's ever built before, and our guy is building 100,000, the new one. So we think about AWS. AWS comes about because they had too much capacity for the cloud, so therefore when they had excess, they sold it. That's what XAI is. In addition to that, XAI creates Grok. Grok ultimately is going to be your assistant. You would drive around in a car. Also, Tesla is going to be able to use the compute that's been produced by and owned by XAI. XAI got those chips because over-ordered. He doesn't need them right now. He's buying them later, so XAI needs them now. We have nowhere to store them at Tesla. So XAI gets these chips, but the next level is coming to Tesla.
Regarding this big FUD going around with NVIDIA chips supposed to be going to Tesla, then it goes to XAI, and everyone thinking that Elon is using Tesla for XAI and all this BS. Well, Elon comes out and says this: Tesla had no place to send the NVIDIA chips to turn them on, so they would have just sat in the warehouse. In other words, we had no use of these, so we sold them to XAI. Ah, man, I love it when, the mainstream media just wants to go on a FUD streak, and then later on, be embarrassed and called out. Then you have to lock out your own, X account. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So to confirm what Ron Barron is really saying here is he's saying that all other companies, like I was just saying earlier, benefits Tesla. And Hallmars here posts here, Elon running multiple companies is an advantage for Tesla that competitors will never have. And Elon liked this tweet or X as well. Think about it, guys. Tesla. You have SpaceX, right? Elon runs SpaceX. You get the benefit of SpaceX. You get the benefit of X. You get the benefit of XAI. Benefit of Boring Company, which when they're using the Boring Company, they are using Teslas. You got Neuralink, which I don't know how that's going to be implemented into Tesla, but if it would, it will. But the main thing here, you got Starlink as well, which all Tesla vehicles have Starlink. That's the only way that they have Wi-Fi all the time, everywhere that they go. So this is a competitive edge for Tesla, not much of a conflict of interest. Conflict of interest is him running Tesla and then opening another company called Lucid or whatever and doing it. That's called conflict of interest, not all these other things, especially when they help each other. They help one another big time. One interesting thing that Ron Barron said is that he called this the Elon Ecosystem, which was pretty flippin' interesting.
When he started off with EVs for Tesla, did he really think that this is really going to merge into self-driving, where you can make hundreds of billions of dollars a year of extra profits? And Grok, to here, this is going to be self-driving, and you're going to have connected cars all around the world from SpaceX. All these businesses link up to, it's the ecosystem. It's the Elon ecosystem.
In regards of buying Tesla stock now, later, what was Ron Barron's thought here? And he said that, hey man, if I could buy more stock right now, I would buy.
If I had a chance to buy more stock in Tesla right now, I'd buy more stock in Tesla.
Well, you can't. Why?
Well, because I have limits as far as what percentages I'm allowed to buy for these individuals.
Because you're full up on your Tesla.
Plus, I don't have infinite capital. And so when I have chances to buy, I recommend, when we get new accounts, bigger positions I'm able to buy in Tesla, I buy.
I've been buying, I'm almost at 1,000 shares of Tesla stock right now. Almost. If I can hit that 1,000, I can kind of relax a little bit on buying more stock. But I am buying as many as I can because just the opportunity here is just ridiculous. If you're fearful because Elon's gonna leave, newsflash, he ain't gonna leave. That's all I'm gonna say. Now this part was really interesting on what Ron Barron said. Let's take a listen and then we'll come back.
In Tesla, I think in the next 15 years, next 10 years, we're gonna make 4, 5, 6 times our money. But I can't even put a top on how much we're gonna make in Tesla because there's so many businesses. This robotics business is going to be unbelievable. With robotics for him, I think that it's going to cost $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for a robot. But there's billions of people on the planet. He thinks everyone's going to have a robot, and you're going to charge money. This is like the ecosystem again, where you're going to get charged every year for software for using your robot. That's going to keep getting better and better and better. And when you think about a factory worker gets $100,000 or $200,000 or $150,000 a year. And all of a sudden you have robots that are able to do that, to make all these factory workers more and more productive. And Elon says the GDP is the number of people times the product you produce. All of a sudden you're not going to need the people to produce the product. Everyone's lives is going to be dramatically better because of AI, because of robotics. robotics are going to be a really big deal for Tesla, and that is not in the stock in any way, shape, or form.
So he's saying that in the next 10 to 15 years, Tesla stock could 4 to 6x, which last time he said that by 2030, he expects the stock to be about 1,500. Tesla now 4 to 6xing, let's say by 2030, that's about a 3.3 trillion or a stock price of just below $1,100 per share. So it's either his estimation went down or he was just babbling on, because he did say that it's hard to see what the valuation of Tesla is when you got robotics coming in with all that kind of stuff. Now, if you guys already know, I'm all into Tesla stock, not because of the robotics, but because of the full self-driving, the robotaxi, the licensing of that software and technology. That thing could take the stock to at least $1,500, maybe even up to 2,000 per share by 2030. I know others like ARK is saying 2,000 by 2027. I'm saying $1,400 by 2030. If you add in that's excluding the robotaxi, but if you add in the full self-driving and the licensing, it could reach around $1,400 per share, around there. If you want to add the robotaxi, could be easy $2,000 per share, which is a sheesh flippin' moment. But he was saying 4 to 6x, which was pretty interesting. But again, he said, how can you even evaluate the robots and stuff, the bus? How can you even evaluate that? Because that's just the next level. So it's safe to say that this is a very conservative prediction. And then he ends off this awesome interview with this bombshell. Check it out.
When you look at Apple, at NVIDIA, how did they make it? They made it because they had something that was good for games, for gaming. When Amazon came along, and what Amazon had was they were a bookseller, and look what that's come from them. Yeah. Tesla has cars. The cars are going to be like books or like games for the other companies. Cars are a business for them. They have all this other technology. This company is going to be an enormous company. I love Tesla.
It's just music to my ears. That's exactly what's going on with Tesla right now. Amazon used to be a bookstore. Now it's not. The tech company is an online company. It has nothing to do with books whatsoever. NVIDIA used to be a gaming company. Now they're a data center chip maker. I mean, their gaming sector is just a rounding error number, which is just crazy. It kind of sounds what looks like Tesla's going to be with their cars. And right now with Tesla, it's a car company, which I don't know any other automakers that are putting $10 billion in investment for AI this year, or trying to figure out how to solve full self-driving, or how to, bring bots in. I mean, I don't know any other auto company that's doing that. Do you guys know any other auto companies doing that? Comment down below if you guys know. Maybe I'm missing out on another company that's a car company that is doing all these tech and stuff like that, that has so much data and a sustainable lead on pretty much everything that they're doing. So in the future, we're going to look back at Tesla and say, darn, Tesla used to be a car company back in, the early 2010s. Later, we can see their transformation into the software company, into the margin company, just like what Ron Barron mentioned. And that's the opportunity, guys. Look, if you guys think that Tesla's always going to be selling vehicles and that's the only thing they're going to be selling on, then don't invest in Tesla. If you're in it for the autonomous driving or in the full self-driving, becoming software as a service, becoming a tech company, an AI company, then this is probably one of the greatest opportunities of our flipping lifetime, which is why I'm so comfortable going all in Tesla stock, and I'm buying as many as I flipping can. And I hope you're still naive. I hope you're still ignorant so I can keep buying on the cheap, because if you're a Tesla skeptic and you don't believe in the technology that Tesla is doing, one day, when you do believe it, it's too late to invest in the stock. That's all I'm gonna say. But this was a very sheesh interview. Shout out to Ron Barron, giving us some facts and spitting truth to us, because it's kind of needed right now with all this voting. Voting is happening in less than, the shareholder meeting, the results are going to come out within the 7-8 days. We're either going to be more stressed or less stressed and just taking a nice breath with all this, a breath of fresh air with all this FUD in the air. And by the way, guys, if you want to know the scenarios, if you guys want to know the outcomes that could happen with this vote, check out this video that I made, this podcast that I made with Yashu. Shout out to him. But it was a very intense debate between him and me going on what was happening. It was a sheesh moment. Hopefully you guys have your popcorn ready, because it was a sheeshy podcast. Guys, get your Bought the Dip t-shirt or your Go All In t-shirt or your sheesh t-shirt, whatever it is, get it here. Or become a channel member if you guys want to support me. Subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.